Welcome back to the Jersey Sports Network. I'm Darian Kelly, and today I wanted to discuss the NBA's media rights negotiations that are taking place currently. But before I get into today's topic, if it's your first time on the channel, on the Jersey Sports Network channel, if it's your first time watching this video, please like, comment, subscribe, share. Every little bit of support goes a long way, and I greatly appreciate it. We have an amazing time here at the Jersey Sports Network talking about sports business. And so, as I mentioned, I wanted to talk about the NBA's media rights negotiations that are taking place. Historically, back in 2014, the NBA had entered into a long-term media rights partnerships, particularly with multiple networks, these networks being ESPN, ABC, as well as Warner Brothers Discovery, TNT, which we know as TNT. Now, this initial deal back in 2014 was a 10-year deal worth $24 billion. I repeat, this was a 10-year, $24 billion media rights partnership deal. Now, this particular deal is set to be up next season. So the 2024-2025 NBA season is when this deal is set to be up. And news has started to kind of matriculate that the NBA is looking to not only renew their media rights partnerships, but also bring on a streaming partner. Now, when this news started to come out about the NBA adopting new streaming partners, I think a lot of attention went towards particularly Amazon Prime. Given the history that they've had with the NFL viewership has been up as a part of the NFL's partnership with Amazon Prime to be able to stream Thursday night football games and success that they've had. So people just assume that, hey, if the NBA is looking for media rights partners on the streaming side of things, then Amazon is going to be their next best bet, until the news that dropped today. So news released today that the network NBC is looking to outbid Warner Discovery for their portion of the NBA rights of the NBA's broadcast. They're looking to put up $2.5 billion to essentially push Warner Brothers Discovery out of the NBA's conversation. And I find it fascinating because of the history that NBC has with the NBA. You think back to the 90s and the glory years in which Michael Jordan had won all of his championships. Most of those games, particularly those finals games and those playoffs games, were aired on NBC. So NBC has had success with the NBA, specifically during that time. But another aspect of NBC that makes them an intriguing streaming partner is the fact that on NBC streaming platform Peacock, they actually produced the most streamed live event, which was in the playoffs, NFL playoffs that took place this past season. The wild card game with the Miami Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs brought in 26 million viewers, making it the most streamed live event. And the NFL has now, as a product, has really separated itself from other professional leagues. You think about the impact that the NFL is having globally. I believe they're going to have new international games, up to 8 international games within these next upcoming seasons, in places such as Brazil and Germany. So they're really, expanding the NFL as a product globally. But the fact that they are, from a product standpoint, they are the most valuable product for a lot of streaming platforms. You think of not just Peacock, but also Amazon Prime. It begs to differ. Can the NBA compete with the NFL as far as grossing those same viewership numbers that they've had on the streaming platforms? I think it's possible, but I think that they have to be strategic in who they bring on as a streaming partner, given the success that both NBC's Peacock has had as well as Amazon Prime. I think that the NBA's next media deal are going to go in a different direction by bringing on a streaming platform, because they benefited for so long in the era in which cable TV was so prominent and so popular, that now that they're transitioning into streaming, I think that it's going to be interesting to see how they fare given the traditional networks that they've had partnerships with in the time in which they've had them. Now that everybody is going away from cable and now transitioning into more transitioning into consuming content on traditional streaming platforms. It's going to be interesting. Another caveat too is that the NBA has to factor in is that with the NFL is a prime example of this. The games are not just games, but the products themselves have to market and have to advertise products on top of that product. So you think of if a person streams an NFL game on Peacock, they're not just looking forward to streaming that game on that Sunday night, but they're going to probably watch a Peacock show on a Monday. They're probably going to watch it again on Wednesday and on Friday. And then when the game comes around on Sunday, it's like, okay, I'm already on this platform. I'm already consuming the content. The games are just an added bonus. And I think that the NBA thrived in a time where like their games were just, that was the main offering. There wasn't anything else. You think of what the NFL does with Amazon Prime on Thursday nights. You can watch the game in a multitude of fashions. You can watch it traditionally and get more of a traditional broadcasting where you have color commentators and you have people comment on the game. Or you can watch the NFL game in a way in which it's seen from a data analytics type of angle where you're breaking down, how many times an offense is going to run this play. What are the percentages as far as if the defense is going to stop this offense, or if a field goal kicker is looking to kick a field goal, what are the percentages that this kicker is going to, not miss this field goal or actually make the field goal. So the NBA has to consider that, times have changed. And you also think about other professional leagues that have already took that streaming leap, right? You think of MLB and their relationship, Major League Baseball's relationship with Apple TV. The MLS has a deal in place with Apple TV as far as streaming specific games. And so it's like, okay, what is the NBA going to do? And so I think that the NBA is a product. When you think of the viewership numbers, I believe that more people had viewed, if you think back to the women's March Madness tournament, I believe the Iowa LSU game had received more viewership than the NBA game that was taking place, a regular season NBA game. So I think that the NBA has a viewership problem, and I think that the streaming partner side of things, on them exploring streaming, could help that, just because of where the current consumer landscape is shifting now to streaming. I think that they can definitely, those numbers will improve over time. But I think also too, it'll allow for the NBA to explore ways in which their consumers consume the game, essentially, right? Are we gonna, if they team up with an Amazon Prime, are we going to get the similar offering that we get with the NFL, where we can watch the game in a multitude of ways in which we can dissect the game from a data analytics standpoint? And I think that what's so unique about streaming, and I just had this thought today, is streaming is the kind of the bridge that we're seeing now between sports and technology, where we are looking at sports in a different way because data is so important, right? Data is not, outside of the sports context, data is becoming, so much more valuable. And I think that sports leagues, professional leagues specifically, are now at a position where they, when we think about media rights and we think about consumers, I think that you also have to factor in, okay, which platform is going to allow for me to consume and get as much data as I need. So if I'm offering different things on top of the NBA games, if I'm offering exclusive NBA content, let me get an understanding of the demographics, the age demographics, the spending habits of these individuals. I think you can grasp that a little bit when you have a streaming partner, as far as gathering that data, so you understand how your products are going to be landing with a new demographic. But it's going to be interesting to see what hurdles the NBA may face transitioning into streaming, because as I said, a lot of these NBA games in the past have been on traditional regional sports networks. And I wrote about the Phoenix Suns actually breaking ties with their traditional regional sports network, and now shifting more so towards their own private streaming platform, where you can watch Phoenix Suns games exclusively on a streaming platform. Like, that's where we're at now, where we have teams that are now going away from traditional cable powers and now transitioning into streaming. So streaming offers, a lot of different opportunities from a data standpoint, data analytics standpoint, a consumer and advertising standpoint. So for the NBA to be seeking a streaming partner makes sense. I wish they would have done it a bit sooner and maybe would have considered it. Yes, but they were still in the middle of their deal. It's going to be interesting to see what streaming partner actually lands with the NBA. If the NBA is smart, I think that they'll lean towards more of Amazon Prime specifically. I mean, I'm not biased, but I think that what I've seen them do with the NFL, I think that lays a great groundwork for what could potentially happen with the NBA. And I really enjoy the fact that you can break down a game from a data analytics standpoint, because I think that, sports is not just about the game, but it's like, okay, how can we bring people together? How can we bring people from the tech world or the world of advertisement or the world of marketing? How can we bring them, or how can we get them interested in an actual game? And I think that's what certain leagues have mastered, like the NFL. So it's going to be interesting to see which direction the NBA goes in. But if you think the NBA, or let me know essentially where you think the NBA is gonna turn towards. You think they're gonna turn towards more of Amazon Prime streaming option, or are they gonna lean more so to NBC's Peacock, given the history that they've had with the NBC network? But that's all for today. Please, again, as I've always say, like, subscribe, comment, share. Every little bit goes a long way. And I thank you for tuning into the Jersey Sports Network, and I'll see you next time.